Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. We are back. I was curious again. I feel like last week I just was kind of over him for a minute, and now I'm like, okay, I want to hear him again. Sometimes I just want to talk calmly to you guys. My my mom was funny because she watched my reaction to the Fab Fatties. And she was just like, you were really mad. And I was like, it's not that I was really mad. I'm like, it's that I have to breathe life into it because it's so boring. And a lot of the stuff they talk about is important because it's very common mindsets in people that are hugely fat. Like a lot of what they say is actually very stereotypical. In order for people to listen and understand, it has to be interesting enough for people to listen to, or it's boring as hell. And they are so boring, I have to like bring it up a notch. Now, I do think Leo is a little bit less boring, thank God. So I'm just gonna watch him today because I'm a little tired. But what's prompting me reacting to him again is I feel like there isn't enough, like, I don't know, like there isn't a lot of resources about losing weight and stuff. And I was just looking at stuff like I've been still dealing with the mids, and it's like I want to do research on it or do like I want to react to stuff about it, and it's like there really isn't hardly anything about it. And I think this is a huge like deficit within discourse. Like, let me know if you guys see anything about that because I would love to react to it. Because in some ways, I'm looking for some other perspectives on what it's like to be at this phase. And I feel like a lot of people just really don't talk about it at all. And it's like, I can make it myself. Like, I'm working to create a framework myself. That's fine. But it's like, damn, like, I really feel like I'm on my own here, you know? And I think I think it's hard to talk about. Like, I'm just going to use this video to talk about it a little bit because I know you guys that watch these, you guys really care about weight loss and stuff, which I think is, great. Loves it. Love you all. But for me, I was just like, I think people don't talk about it as much because it's not like the most intense thing in the world. I had to consider today, like, am I having an identity crisis? I had one in 2023. I was talking to Eric again on the phone today, and I was like, what if I dyed my hair blonde and did like a pixie cut and I had like a Miley Cyrus Bangers era, or like I did like a freaking Witness era? What if I just went crazy? And he was just like, no. He's like, I don't know if you could like actually do that in a way that it would be like good for your brand or whatever. For you guys who know Enneagram, Eric is an Enneagram 3. So he's like, I don't know how you're going to make that work. And I was like, I honestly don't have the riz to do that at all. And I was like, and my eyebrows would look like crap because I would not dye my eyebrows. So I would look really stupid. So I'm not actually going to do it. But I feel like sometimes there is this like, I just feel like the guardrails of life are gone. I've noticed really recently, like my sense of shame or like fear around like what other people think of me, it is so much less than it used to be. Like, and I think for much of my weight loss, that was a huge part of it. I think some of the hormones you have, it makes you, which I think it has to do with serotonin fluctuation in weight loss. It makes you feel like a lot of shame. And I hear a lot of fat activists talk about it all the time. Like, I become this boring person. I can't be who I am. I this, I that while I'm losing weight. And I'm like, I do feel like I had a piece of that or that happened to me, especially 2 years ago when I had the identity crisis. And over that summer in 2023, it was really bad. But it's like, I feel like right now it's just, I spent so long with so many barriers in my life and so many guardrails and so many restrictions. And they're all gone. And it's not like a negative feeling, but it's more like, I don't know. I just get emotional a lot. And I don't think that it's an identity crisis. Like, I looked at the symptoms. I literally looked it up today. And it was like, no, it's not. It's just, I'm just having an emotional moment. Because when I looked at the thing again, I was like, yeah, I totally had one. In 2023, it was pretty harsh. But this year, no. It's just like, I feel like kind of floppy. Like, I feel like a flop. I just feel like I'm flopping. Like, and that's not even like bad. It's just like, you're just kind of whatever, And I think that's why people don't talk about it that much, because it's not the most emotionally intense thing. I don't think a lot of people find it all that interesting, or they are just like, oh, like, this isn't interesting to talk about. But I'm like, I really think there needs to be something here. So I'm glad I'm doing my mid-sized princess videos. I think that will help. But it's like, I have to literally, as an activist, I feel like I have to do this on my own again, or in some ways again. Because I just feel like it's not talked about that much. And it needs to be. I think some of what I'm going through now, it's things that people need to hear about. It's things that people really need to understand, especially a lot of coaches. Like, I know Nadia Nymph watches me sometimes anyways. And I appreciate her a lot. You're actually one of the inspos for this channel, for the record, Nadia. I was watching you in 2021. I was watching. So don't ever feel, or like, I don't know, don't feel like I'm not at least partially fangirling when you comment, because I am. But she's doing like coaching and stuff, and it's like, I think this is really important. This is a major thing to deal with. And I think for me as well, it's just coming from such a big size, having that sense of shame, or that sense of like hormonal shame. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a very strange feeling. To have that be gone now, it's like, whoa, what now? And because like, even when I was in my bra era, I still felt like I really had to conform or do something. Like, I felt such a pressure. I told you, I felt like that phase was so high social pressure. And I feel like zero social pressure now. And it's like, what am I going to do with that? And I don't want to do anything crazy, because I still have like my goals and stuff. But I wonder, like, are there a lot of people that did like, go totally crazy after they lost weight and just like shave their head and do a pixie cut, or, or like dye it blonde or something? Like, is that something that a lot of people do? Or like, you just, because sometimes I feel like I want to flex my muscles a little bit, or I want to like do more stuff. I don't know. It's strange. It's a strange feeling. And as the fat identity goes away, like I told you guys, I keep having to try to fill it in. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'm a romantic person. I remember that. I am. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a this type of person. Oh yeah, I'm a fun person. Oh yeah, I used to be fun. And it's like, oh yeah, like, it's like, I'm trying to just feed into those aspects, particularly of who I am. And I feel like a lot of people would need to do that, because it does take up so much mental bandwidth. Like, I always think of that comment about how counting calories takes so much mental bandwidth, but it's like, how much mental bandwidth does your fat identity take up? And I'm seeing it's a lot. And I feel like as my hormones improve and stuff, it's like I don't understand anymore why I ever felt shame. I don't understand why I ever felt like any of this mattered. Like why I felt like, oh, if you text somebody first, then you're desperate or whatever the fuck. I don't even know. Like, to me, it's like, why did I ever even care about that? Like, who cares? And it's like, I think for me, I just don't, I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff, I guess, to work through or to think about and just like adjust. I guess I would say this mid phase, what I'm realizing as I go through it is it's not so much an identity crisis, it's an expression like process. It's like learning how to express yourself differently in a new way, how to communicate that. Like, I think it's much more interpersonal. And I've been using that word a lot, and I feel like this phase is much more interpersonal because it's about how do we express ourselves to others? How do we convey our identity to others? Now that fatness is no longer a fast track way to do that. I think that's what it is. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Let's start this video. I needed to work that out. I needed y'all to hear it. I need y'all's comments on it too. Because like I said, I feel like I have to kind of chart this myself, which is fine. That's why I'm here. This is the work, right? This is the job. This is what I'm doing. Okay, let's go ahead and continue with Leo. Let's see what he's saying.
You will still lose weight no matter what you eat. I'm not talking about the whole what's healthy, what's not. I'm telling you the science behind losing weight. You can eat what you want, but are you going to use what you can eat to get nutritious things, or you just want to eat whatever you want and have it go below? It's whatever you want to do.
You need to have a macro balance that works for your body, because if you don't, you will be very hungry. So one of the first signs that you're not eating at a proper balance for you, and remember, look, I can just go right into it. Remember, macro balance will vary from individual to individual, even during different phases, different seasons, different times, different days. It's okay. If you find yourself craving fat really badly, then eat some fat. Like, again, I can use Eric as an example again. Like, I use all the same people over and over again. He was talking to me about how he ate cream cheese because he's been in like a deficit at a very like he's fit. He's trying to get abs. And he was like, had this cream cheese with apples and it was divine. And I was like, well, you're probably craving fat, because typically people cut fat when they're trying to lower calories because fat has more calories. So it's like, but I've noticed a lot throughout my long haul weight loss, like there are certain times when you need to up your fat again, and the fat can like last a few days. Like, you don't have to do it every single day, in my opinion. I've noticed that but for certain people, maybe they would, or maybe there's certain phases where you have to, and that's okay. And I think so many people, when they lose weight, they have such a rigid view of weight loss where I have to stick to this certain amount of macro ratio the entirety of my weight loss and the entirety of my life. And that's not true. So I agree with him there. But your first warning sign will be hunger. If you are really hungry, then something's wrong. You likely are nutrient deficient, or your macros are not good enough for the day. I find for me personally, I have to have calcium. I have to have 100% at least daily amount of calcium in a day, and if I don't, I get very hungry in a deficit. It is just a non-negotiable for me. It has been that way the entirety of my entire weight loss. So your body will have, there could be certain non-negotiables with your body, and you have to accommodate for that because you shouldn't be super hungry. And I keep seeing all of these posts on Instagram being like, being hungry is a part of weight loss, da da da. Not necessarily. Like I said, if it's above a 3, there's something going on. There's something off. You know, something's off. So probably macro-wise, typically. And when you're like super morbidly obese, you have a lot of calories to work with. At least you have a lot more than you're ever going to, you know, in terms of the journey. So you typically can have plenty of nutrients and stuff within that. So anyways, let's go ahead and continue.
But every single day you are going to fluctuate, and some days you're going to wake up puffy. Some days you're going to wake up bloated. Some
True.
days you're going to hold a little bit more water. When's the last time you took a shit? How much water are you holding?
True.
Are you dehydrated? Are you overhydrated? What is it? Like sometimes you're bloated, sometimes you're not. And I just want you to know, with the numbers game aspect, if you've been going for like a week or like 3 days and you've been eating lower than your normal calories and you're not seeing the scale go down, do not let it mess with your head. Get grounded and get stabilized
100%.
in the numbers game. It is numbers. So it doesn't matter if one day you wake up and you feel puffy and you feel fat and you feel bigger. Don't make it turn into a whole spiral of like, this is for nothing, this isn't working.
I had to literally tell Eric that today. He was like, I feel bulkier even though I'm like in a really strict deficit. I was like, you might be a little bloated. It's okay. You know, it is weird. Sometimes to be telling Eric stuff like that. But I understand he's working very hard and he wants the result. And I just told him, I'm like, you're probably a little bloated. But when you're like at that fit level, like it's going to be weird when I'm getting to that point because a slight bloat, like you can feel it. And he works really hard. So I understand people getting pissed about that type of thing. I get pissed too. I do. But I think too, I've just dealt with it for so long, London, for so long that I'm kind of numb to all of that stuff now. Like I was, you know, I was very tortured a year ago about it in my tortured era. I was very like, is this possible? Is it really? Because especially I've been listening to freaking gaslighting fat activists all of 2023, which when I look back on it, I'm like, gosh, that was kind of hard, you know? So it's kind of vulnerable a little bit during that time, especially with my identity crisis and everything. I'm like listening to all these people tell me that it's impossible to do what I'm doing, and I'm just like doing it anyways. And it was like, I was so pissed by last spring. I was so fucking mad at fat activists because they had told me that shit like all of 2023. And so like when I got out of super morbid obesity, I was just like, fuck you all, literally. And I just got really pissed. Because it was like, I didn't realize how much of an effect it had on me. But also like, I was still a little tortured about it, you know, like, because I swelled a lot when I was morbid. Like, I never stopped being swollen until I was just obese. And so I was, you know, my weight loss was very slow over last summer. And it was very, like, it was very tortured. Like, I wasn't sure all the time. Like, I knew that I was probably okay, that there was probably body comp shifts happening, and there was certainly a lot of hormonal stuff going on. So I just kept going, and I had faith, and I got out. And now I can tell you guys, like, oh yeah, it's a thing. You know, I wonder if a lot of people plateau at that phase, but I plateaued. I had some hellacious plateaus, and that's part of why I was so tortured, because the plateaus were really drastic. Like, I didn't lose any weight in April of 2024. And I mean, like, I'm counting, I'm going to the gym, I'm tracking. I didn't lose any weight. It's hard. So I was very tortured. But now I'm not. Like, now it's kind of coming off as expected, I guess. You know, I'm kind of doing the 2 pounds a week, and it's just kind of happening. Maybe I don't lose as much one week, and then I lose like 3 pounds the next week. You know, it's just very like, it's becoming like clockwork at this point. And I think it's because I'm not as hypo and I don't have a cycle, you know. So for me, it's just very like, I don't have a period, you know. So it's becoming a lot more linear and just more typical, which is why I can plan for the future and plan clothes and like plan all these things. Like, it's becoming, I can look at it in the mids more optimistically and just be like, okay, I'm going to be done by October. And I'm telling myself I'm going to be done. You know, I'm going to be done by the end of October because I already tracked it out. And I even planned 3 weeks of maintenance in that whole period. So it's like, it really changes, I guess. So I'm trying to say, but just, if you are in like a tortured phase, just hear me. I will always be your albatross. I told you. Always. Albatross at any size. But the albatross was born in the tortured era because you can lose it. Because everybody gets tortured to a certain extent and they go into like a prophecy mode. I'm being really gay right now. I don't care. I know I got Swifties here. And they're just like, let it once be me. Can I please lose the weight? You know, am I cursed? Am I ever going to get out of this? You will. You're going to. He's right. The calories matter. It will come off. It did. For me, it was very slow. And then it just like went whoosh, and then it shot down in October. Like, I got out of Morbid. And then I almost went all the way out of Obese, but then the winter and hypo and all that BS. So then I came back up. And then now I'm like, I'm getting to late stage obesity. I'm going to weigh in on Thursday and we're going to see where I'm at. If I also am going to get a haircut tomorrow on Wednesday, since you guys are talking so much shit about my hair. I see y'all. You act like I wouldn't want to cut my hair anyways. The weight loss alone, cut it off. I'd cut my hair every week. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so I'm going to see, because I'm getting to the end of obesity. I'm getting close. I'm at 31%. I'm at 31.4. I need to get to 29.9. So I'm back to like where I was in October, in November. So I'm almost there. And I told y'all it would happen in March. I told you. It's predictable. Like I said, I've been at this for so long, London. I've been at this. So, anyways. He's right. So I'm co-signing him from the big side, from the other planet that is super morbid obesity. Just know you are on another planet when you are smo, and you come back to Earth when you leave. It is wild, but just know you do come back to reality. You don't have to sing the prophecy. You don't have to be like, let it once be me. Like, it will be you. If you continue, it will be you. You don't need to be tortured. I was tortured, though. I was. I never told you guys that much at the time. I had a brave face. But it was my tortured era for a reason. Like, I was like, is this really going to happen? Am I actually going to be able to keep going? And I was. So like I said, I'll always be your albatross. It will be you. But it may slow down, and it's okay if it does. It will speed up again later. Or not really speed up. I mean, the reality is the reality. You're burning the calories. Okay?
working and go binge and go back to your old eating habits. Stay consistent with the numbers because you don't know how you're going to feel the next day. Maybe you're holding on to a little extra water. Maybe you need to shit. Who knows? We're human beings. We're not machines. So we're going to hold things and weight's going to move around. Weight's going to fluctuate. Give it time and be consistent with the numbers aspect. Don't freak out. Don't get upset.
And remember, from the Smo planet, you need to remember the winter too. It's real. Especially when you're Smo. It's drastic. It's big. So you can really swell. But it goes away. But I think a lot of people, like he said, they just give up. So don't give up.
You're going to have days where you're eating low calories and you wake up and you feel bigger than you did the day before. Trust me.
Which I am never going to lose weight in the winter again. I told you in 2026, I'll probably do a cutting phase in the golden period of weight loss, which is August till October. The easiest time. And I will just do it during that time and I'm done. I ain't ever losing weight any other time of the year. Only the golden period for me. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Fuck winter weight loss. I fucking hate it. I shouldn't have said that. I'm supposed to be like, you know, a cheerleader today, but I'm not. I'm a flop. I hate it. I really do. My skin is so dry. My lips are so chapped. Like, it's crazy. I feel like death. No, I'm just kidding. I don't feel like death. It's just, there's so much to it. It's just, it sucks. But I'm never doing it again. I never have to do it again. And I hope it's shitty at the Black Dog. No, I'm just kidding. I never have to do it again. So it's almost the end of winter. So now I can totally shit on it forever. And I can be like, I hope it's shitty at the winter weight loss. I'm done. I shouldn't say that. That's horrible. I'm not being a good activist right now, but I'm being real. I hate it. I hate it here. Oh my gosh, how many more references can I do? How many more? I guess I could have my little But Daddy, I love him bouquet. Here for in spirit. Okay, let's go.
Just a little water weight, you're gonna be fine. Don't let this mentally throw you off. The biggest thing with this is mindset, is why I'm hitting so much of it in the beginning. Just keep on track with the numbers game and know and trust you are on track. You are achieving what you're trying to achieve. You are losing weight if you're eating less than your maintenance calories, or if you're eating your maintenance calories and exercising, you are losing weight. Even if you don't feel like it right now, don't base how you feel every single day and make that like the determining factor of if you're losing weight. And don't base it off the scale, because you might be holding more water, like I said, and you're not going to see the scale go down. You're going to stress out. There's also going to be days where you feel lean and you feel like way smaller than you ever have, and you're going to look at the scale and you're going to be the same weight. It's going to fluctuate. It's going to be different.
It's body comp too, especially from a huge size. It's my opinion that there's certain phases when you're really, really big. Like we often do not think about how unhealthy we actually are. But you are. And I believe that part of the tortured Mo phase and part of why I was not losing as much on the scale is because I went into a protein era. I think around that time, I started craving gelatin massively. And I think being at a lower size, my body started to really engage in tissue regeneration. And you want to allow your body to do that as much as possible. And it may happen again this year. I'll have to see if it does. But if it does, you need to allow that to occur. I'm really looking forward to being in maintenance. I think there will be a tissue regeneration period in maintenance for me towards the end of the year. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But I do think in the morbid obesity phase, I had a tissue regeneration era. And so weight loss was much slower too. But if it's not fat, it looks different, you know? Like, I was still fitting in my clothes from high school and stuff. So high school clothes, you know? Oh my gosh. I don't know why that is on my mind today. Damn. I don't know what's going on. But, anyways, I was still fitting in my so high school clothes last summer. So it's like, no, it was still shifting. Even if there were certain months in the summer where I lost like 3 or 4 pounds. You know, I lost like 3 pounds in a month. There was a lot cooking. And you have to allow that to happen. And you can't give up. You can't just quit because of that. You know, and it was a little tough for me just because I was doing it publicly. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was hungry too. So I was eating a little bit more. So there was a lot of factors of why it was slower. I wasn't eating that much more. But I was like really hungry a lot. And I just needed to eat a little bit more. Like, and sometimes that happens, you know? And you can't beat yourself up about it. And plateaus happen and stuff. And sometimes you do plateau because you're so hungry and you just need to eat more for a little bit, you know? But you just don't give up and you just keep going and you will get there. You will get there. You absolutely will. And like I said, I did so much mental work last summer, so much. I'm so glad I did. I think that's why I'm not tortured. So, I mean, all the work, you have to think of it holistically and you have to just do it. You know? You just do. I am glad that I'm in a phase now where I feel like this is a lot more typical of a weight loss journey apart from the winter. But I think I'm really getting into that where it's more of a normal experience and more of like what I think most people experience. And I'm glad to get there because it has been a long road.
Don't trip out over the scale. Don't trip out over how you feel if you feel puffy. Stay on track with the numbers and stay consistent. Don't let
This video he's doing, it's very good for a general kind of normal amount of weight loss. Like this would be a brilliant video if you were trying to lose 20 pounds or less. That's like what I will say, like, because he's talking about it kind of in that way where this would be so helpful, which again, that's going to be most people. Most people are not super morbid. So I don't think this is a bad video so far.
fool you and throw you off track, because I dealt with that a lot in the beginning of like this whole journey of learning how to lose weight. Like you wake up some days, you feel puffy, you feel bloated, you're like, fuck it, it ain't working, and you binge to comfort yourself because you're disappointed of what you're seeing or
Don't
not
do
seeing.
that.
So do not let this throw you off track.
Do not ever do that. Plateaus are a major trigger within B followed by E followed by D. Major. I had to deal with that. I didn't do it though. Told you I haven't. I haven't since 2020 and I still didn't do it. I wasn't doing it. I said, hell no. Hell no, bitch. Not me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I wasn't doing it. So you have to not allow that to trigger you. There's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of common triggers, and I do talk about them as much as I can because they're all important. But that is a big one. A plateau is a major trigger for a lot of people, and you have to be patient, and you have to just be logical and just be like, it's not going to change my eating behavior. Because why would it? There's no logical reason why it should. It's just excuses.
A numbers game. If you stick to the numbers, you're fine. You have your reassurance. Literally, if you want to write down everything you eat, you have reassurance. You can look at it like, okay, I know I feel a little puffy today, but I am losing weight. Just give it a couple days. Give your body a second to regulate itself and get the water weight off, or like go to the bathroom or whatever you need to do. Regroup after a couple of days, not every day. Now, for the first tip, it's something simple and something you need to start doing right now. Start looking at nutrition labels for your food. You're gonna have to become accountable for what you're putting in your body. You need to see what you're putting into it. Like, you need to see what's going on. You can't just play the whole blind game forever. Look how far it's got you. If you're struggling with your weight, your assessment is not good. it's not accurate. Like, I'm talking at my younger self. Like, you have to start being accountable with what you're putting in your body. You think you can just go eat a full bag of frozen mozzarella sticks? Like, you think you could just fry those up and just eat them? That's like 20,000 calories, kid. I used to just eat a whole bag of cheese sticks just because they's good. And I didn't really pay attention. You have to start being accountable with what you're eating and what you're putting into your body. That's the biggest thing. No more blind.
Yeah, so if you're struggling with hypothyroidism, especially, which is very common, especially in supermorbid obesity, even if you're just dealing with utilization issues from high estrogen, which is something I will continue to talk about, which is very common to the point where, from a supermorbid obese perspective, I would say it's basically universal that you are hypo because of that alone, because of the estrogen levels. You probably should avoid those damn seed oils. And I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if it pisses you off. I don't care if you hate people who talk about it. I don't give a fuck. It's all excuses. It's not going to help you to be eating that. And you shouldn't. So it is a gradient. You can definitely cut it down versus a complete elimination. If you're just like really fiending for that canola oil and you just gotta put it in your system, okay, but put 1 drop, not a whole gallon. Okay, it will make a difference. So it is not black and white at all. It is gray. Reducing matters. It does. Any bit that you reduce, it matters. Even if you just cut it in half, you will feel a benefit. But it will take months to feel a benefit. It's slow. Fats move slowly through the body. And you need to rebalance that stuff because it's not good for hypothyroidism. It's not good for estrogen levels. There's just a lot of stuff with it. And I'm talking to my super morbid peeps. I think there are probably a lot of people who are not, who are probably fine. I did know, if you're struggling, like if you're really hungry, then that's the first thing I would cut out. But if you're not, like if you're okay, I'm not going to sit here and like police what you do. But super morbid, I will be like, you're probably feeling a problem with that. So I would suggest greatly reducing it, eliminating all of it. It's not great. It is not good. Even if you just want to think about it calorically, it is completely empty calories. It is a complete waste. There's no nutrition really in those oils, in any oils really. There is no point. You don't really need to have oils if you're super morbidly obese. You don't. If you want to, you can have some coconut oil. That's not always going to kill you, but I mean, you still have to count it. And it's high. Those calories are high. If you're wanting fat and stuff, I just have cheese. I'd have fattier cuts of meat. Like you just want to have a little bit more of a natural, nutrient dense thing going on. That's my suggestion. All that stuff, it really helps with satiety, which you have to foster your satiety when you're super morbidly obese. The hunger is crazy. It is crazy, crazy, crazy. It's very high. It will not always be that high. I promise you it will not. But you do have to foster your satiety. You do. So you need to be eating lots of nutrient-dense foods. You're going to have to eat some fat sometimes. You're going to have to eat some carbs sometimes. Like I said, though, morbid and under, I think there's more flexibility for sure. If you're like really like, I want to do keto or I want to have some edamame and stuff like that, I don't think it's going to stop you necessarily. When I talk about things very strictly like that, I'm usually talking about super morbid, so somebody who's very, very, very big. Because the hunger is just out of this world and you will feel it. You will feel so much more hungry if you have soy in a day versus if you don't. Or you will feel so much more hungry if you have French fries fried in seed oils versus like tallow, beef tallow. It would be so drastic for a super morbidly obese person. So I just think that really is something you have to look at. And so when he's saying to look at nutrition labels, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. You need to know what's going on. The less BS you can put in your system, if you are just craving sugar, just have sugar. Don't have all the other crap. I told you guys, I've said it, especially for super morbid people, make your own pizzas, make your own cakes, make your own stuff. Make it from scratch. Don't have those freaking crazy ingredients that are all weird. You need to not be lazy and you need to cook your own food. You need to. You can make your own tortillas if you want. You can make your own quesadilla. You can make your own everything. And like I said, from a small place, you do have a lot of calories, so you can still lose weight eating like, I used to make a lot of like cassava cakes, cassava flour cakes, because I can't handle the gluten because of my hypo. Honestly, it's more of a hypo thing. Or a fatty liver thing. I don't know. There's just so many freaking issues. Gosh. But anyways, I will be eating bread again someday in life. There's just no point in me doing it while I'm losing weight. But I was having like cassava cakes and stuff. And it's like we're putting coconut oil in there and some eggs and all the stuff and sugar and all that crap. And it was really satiating. But you could still count it because when you're that big, especially if you're active, you do have a little bit more to work with. You have some things to work with. So you don't have to be like crazy strict at that side. That's probably like the only good thing about it is you do have a little bit more range. But again, think of it as I'm eating this to increase satiety because these types of dessert like foods, if they're naturally made and not freaking crazy food at the grocery store that has a bunch of crap in it, if it's just like your basic sugar, eggs, butter, right? Like these types of things, those are kind of like stimulating, and they are kind of like think of them as stimulating and think of them as like appetite type of stuff. So you have to think of it as like, if I'm super hungry, I'm going to have some of this fat, I'm going to have some of this sugar today. And then you're probably going to be less hungry. And then you have to balance it with nutrition. It's tricky. But that's how you lose when you're super morbid. You have to kind of assess things a lot. And you have to constantly balance everything. And it's difficult, but you do get out. As you get less, like as you lose more and more, you have less and less of that type of stuff. Like I said, for example, this year, because I don't really want to have those dyes, like I told you guys, I haven't really had any candy, really. It's been very minimal. There's like this one brand of candy that just doesn't have the dyes in it. It's like, it just uses fruit juice and stuff, but it's really expensive and I had to buy it on sale. But it's like, I don't have that stuff. Like, when I was super morbid, I had to have something very like hyper palatable at least every day. And I don't anymore. So now it's like I don't need to always be stimulating. Or if I have sugar, it's like I have ice cream or something. It's like you have something where there's more to it than just that too. And obviously I'm not talking from a keto perspective whatsoever. I'm talking from like a different type of perspective. But remember, you're always counting. And in my opinion, you should be active too if you're having sugar, especially if you're trying to lose. You have to consider like being active and stuff too. That's a huge part of your satiety. So you kind of have to feed into all these different things. And like I said, I never eat grain. So a lot of time my only carb is like sugar and like fruit or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just that. So obviously I'm going to be having a bit more than somebody who's eating like rice all the time or like bread or something like that. Like if I was having that, I probably wouldn't have sugar. Like I don't know if you need to double up on everything all the time. You know what I mean? But think about it like you got to balance it when you're super morbid. And a lot of people hear that and they get pissed, but you really are that hungry. and it's real. But you still have to count, and you still have to exercise. I'm not giving you guys that. Not giving you that. A lot of times these days, like when I have ice cream, I'll have like Halo, which is so like, I know the freaking fat activists would hate me for having Halo, but it works. The calories are less, you know? So it's like you have to kind of think about those things and just keep everything balanced. Have your nutrients, you know, the ones that I make sure I get enough of every day. I make sure I have at least some type of meat source. I make sure that I have enough calcium. I make sure that I have enough vitamin C. Major. Those ones I've noticed are really big. They really matter. Protein, calcium, vitamin C. I've noticed, at least for me. But like I said, see how it is for you. If there's certain things where you notice, gosh, I'm so hungry today. Why am I so hungry? It's like for me, it'd be like, oh, my calcium was only 50% today. That's why. So you always assess, especially from that very big size. You have to always assess. And it does get easier. You can kind of have a little bit more leeway here or there as you get to like morbid and obese and just overweight and all that stuff. You can kind of branch out if you feel like it. But yeah, that's my opinion. So if y'all are asking my opinion, these are my opinions. Okay?
And no more fuck it moments. Like, if you're gonna have a moment where you do binge, at least just look at the labels. Just get in the habit of looking at labels.
Make it yourself.
But the biggest
if
thing
you want mozzarella sticks, make it yourself. Put a condition on yourself. You have to cook it yourself. You have to make it yourself, and do not use those damn oils, or I will personally come to your house. No, I'm just kidding. I will not come to your house, but use real ingredients, real food, not industrial waste. My stomach just got upset when I said that. So use actual fat. Don't use like margarine and like weird stuff like that. Use actual carbs. Don't use like weird stuff. You know? Okay? Just saying. It helps.
Looking at labels, as it's gonna help you figure out what you can and can't eat. Like, one thing I eat a lot is Cheez-Its. Like the chips, like the crackers, there's 150 calories in
So if I would have had that when I was super morbid, I would have been starving to death. So I would not suggest eating Cheez-Its if you're super morbid. You need to be a little stricter. Because that is going to be like starvation. Which I will say, I hear a lot of people that are mid-size and like they complain about being so fucking hungry all the time. I'm not. So I think you guys just don't eat right. Because I'm not hungry. It's so easy for me. And I had ice cream today. And I'm not hungry. So I'm just saying, I feel like if you're eating Cheez-Its, that is corporate slop. You know, some of you guys liked when I said that, or liked that term. That is a corporate slop food. That's gonna make you hungry. I'm not sitting here eating Doritos. I'm not. I would eat certain candies, but like I said, honestly, I've even cut down on that. I've officially boycotted Peeps. I'm not having them because of those freaking dyes. I'm not doing it. I'll even deal with the corn syrup. I'll even have that. A lot of people are against that. I'll have it. But I ain't having those dyes. I'm not doing it. That's hard. That's a sacrifice. I love my Peeps. February came around and I was like, it's Peep season and I'm not having them this year. And I'm not hungry. I'm just saying, you know, definitely look at the quality. If you want to have organic or you want to have like very high quality ice creams and stuff like that, I would always suggest it. You're always only ever limited by price, you know? Have the highest quality ingredients. You know, people ate kind of normal diets back in the day and they weren't hugely fat all the time. You know, we do have to consider the quality of food. It's important. If the food that you're eating is not real food, you're going to be hungrier. Cheez-Its are corporate slop. I would have starved eating that. And like I said, he might be hungry. And he said in the beginning of the video, well, I don't have to eat just because I'm hungry. That's true, you don't. But you don't have to be hungry either. Because you don't have to choose something like that. You don't. We have to get out of convenience. Convenience within weight loss, it's a killer. There are people who have died to be able to put something in the microwave. And we really need to think about it. One of my friends, Goblin needs to make a pro-thyroid cookbook. I keep telling her. But she told me some stuff that she was making. And she's cooking her own stuff. You know, I saw somebody else. I'm shouting out some people. Somebody else was making their own sourdough. I was like, that's amazing. I've had a couple of, I think Lisa did too. That's amazing. Stars. Star pupils. You know, it's like, let's actually cook. Let us cook. Gen Z has the right idea. Let us cook. Stop being lazy. That's lazy. You're being lazy. If you don't want to cook, then just have apples or something. You could do it Alex style. I'll have like lunch meat and apples. I mean, if you want to be like that, then you can be like me. Have lunch meat, apples, and just do it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was watching the Tiny Blue Anthropologist, and she was like, how many apples do people eat in one sitting? I've eaten so many apples in one sitting. Sometimes I'll eat like 5 or 6. You know, if you want to just not cook, then do it the Alex way. Go buy your hamburger meat and make it and put some salt on it and put it in a bowl. If you want to do that, then fine. But you're going to freaking stand over the stove and you're going to cook your damn meat. If you don't want to do a recipe, I get it. The Alex style. I understand. I am Alex. But you can still do that. I just made steak. I put steak and broth in an Instapot and I ate it and it was delicious. That was almost no effort. But could I just put it in the microwave? No. You're going to have to do a dish. You're going to have to cook. So there's certain things you need to let go of. You need to let go of this idea of, I can microwave my way to losing weight. No, you can't. You have to either eat one ingredient foods, or you're going to have to, you could have like lunch meat or something like that. Like I do that sometimes, but I still am having like apples or something. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to either be eating a lot of one ingredient foods or you're going to be cooking. You're going to be going in the kitchen and you're going to be cooking. And you're going to use real ingredients. You're going to use real things. I always would tell my mom would be like, she's like, I want a cake. I'd be like, make a cake then. Make it yourself. Because I'm telling you, the convenience of that, those ingredients in those cakes at the store, they're trash. It's low quality. We need to care about the quality of our food. We need to care about the ingredients. We need to care about weird chemicals and stuff. That's not good. These are not good things. And like I said, I don't suggest microwaving your way to weight loss especially if you're super morbidly obese. I do not suggest it. You know, while I would have candy and stuff when I was super morbid, I also was eating lots of cheese. I was eating a lot of meat. I was eating a lot of juices and fruits and things. I was having a lot of whole foods too. At the time, I would talk about the sugar because it was so like, oh, you know, and people would get all extra about it. But it's like, no, I was eating whole foods too, babes. Like, let's be so for real. I would have been starving. I would have been starved if I wasn't. So you're going to be eating whole foods. You can do it Alex style. Bowls of meat and bowls of apples. You can do it. Or you're going to cook. You're going to do recipes. You're going to cook. Pick a lane. Anyways, you guys, that's it for today. This was fun, as always. I do like the discussions he gives me, or he inspires in me, so I do appreciate this. But those are some of my tips, some of my perspectives. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace.